In this program entitled Basic Grooming Techniques, you will be introduced to the fundamentals of basic animal grooming, such as proper brushing techniques, trimming mats and burrs from the coat, bathing, dipping, nail trimming, ear and eye care, and anal gland expression. This program is not intended to make you into a professional groomer, but it will help you to better understand some of the common grooming responsibilities that arise in a veterinary hospital. Mastering basic grooming skills is very important to maintaining good health and hygiene for the pets we care for. Your contribution in this important area may help to prevent skin infections, ear infections, broken toenails, and many other animal health problems. Such grooming makes the pet feel better and makes them adorable to their owner. We will begin with a discussion on brushing. This is an essential part of pet grooming. It not only gives the pet a nice cosmetic appearance, but it is a very important step in helping remove loose hair. Brushing a pet prior to bathing is essential for removing excess undercoat. Selecting the right type of brush is determined by the type of hair coat the pet possesses. When brushing out a long-haired dog or cat, you should use a universal or slicker type brush, as this will effectively remove excess hair from the coat. Short-haired dogs and cats will benefit more by using a soft bristled brush. A stiff metal comb works best with long-haired cats. A shedding blade works well when carefully used to remove loose coat on breeds such as German Shepherds, Labrador Retrievers, Akitas, Doberman Pinschers, and Dalmatians. Brushing a pet should ideally be done both before and after bathing. Once the pet has been bathed and dried, a light brushing will leave them looking clean and well cared for. Long-haired pets may even require a light brushing as they are drying. This will help them to dry more quickly and evenly. When they are completely dry, they will need to be brushed out again prior to going home. Providing basic grooming services to pets brings great joy to both the pet and the owner when done with skill and professionalism. Removing mats and burrs from a dog or cat's coat will require some special care to not injure the animal. There are several tools that will dramatically aid in this process. A wire comb works nicely to help free up tangled hairs, small mats, or small burrs. Use the comb only with small clumps of hair to minimize discomfort to the pet. Use the comb to separate hairs from the mat or burr until the mat or burr can be worked loose from the remaining coat with the comb. This process is slow and tedious, but renders a very cosmetically appealing result when dealing with small tangles. A mat splitter is another helpful tool when dealing with larger mats. This device has small blades that act to cut the mat into smaller mats that might be easily removed with a comb or brush. Another tool we will discuss is the electric hair clipper. These will drastically speed the removal of large mats, but must be used with great care so as to not leave the hair coat looking chopped up. Pass the blade of the clippers parallel to the skin at the base of the mat or burr. By only cutting the hairs that are directly knotted into the mat or burr, you will be able to maintain the most cosmetic appearance to the coat. Be careful not to cut the skin with the clippers. When using the clippers for an extended period of time, be sure the blade does not become too hot, as this can burn the skin of the animal. It is preferable when clipping out a mat or burr to leave the remaining hair as long as possible. In order to do this, you can run your clippers in the direction that the hair is growing. Going against the grain will produce a much closer cut and risks clipper irritation or cutting of the skin. You should also choose a blade size that leaves as much hair as possible. The larger the number on the blade, the closer it shaves to the skin. For example, a number 40 blade will cut much closer than a number 10 blade. When trimming out a mat or burr, always attempt to choose a blade that will leave the most hair and consistently cut in the direction the hair is growing whenever possible. This will leave a smooth appearance to the remaining hair coat. There are just a few fundamentals you should follow in order to keep electric hair clippers functioning to their fullest. Keep the blades clean, sharp, and well lubricated. A small brush or toothbrush works well to clean hair and debris from between the teeth of the blade. Many clippers have removable blades that allow you to clean and disinfect them thoroughly. Dull blades should be replaced with new or resharpened blades. If teeth are missing from the blade, they are likely to nick the skin and should be replaced. Next, keep the blades well lubricated for maximum cutting efficiency. Blades can be soaked in sanitizing lubricants when not in use. Both sprays and oils work well for lubricating the blades. With the excess hair and mats removed, we are now ready to discuss bathing. Though bathing may seem to be a skill that appears to need little explanation, there are certainly instructional pointers that will help you excel in this area. Your veterinarian may recommend a drop of mineral oil or ophthalmic ointment in each eye prior to the bath or dip. The first consideration is that of proper restraint. Some dogs will become very excited or fearful when confronted by water. Their tendency might be to jump from the bathtub. Jumping from an elevated tub onto a slippery floor is likely to cause a loss of footing on the part of the animal and may lead to injury. Attempting to control a soapy pet while they try to escape can be most challenging if they are not properly leashed and tied to an anchor point. Extreme caution should be taken if using a leash to control a cat during a bath, as some cats may resist to the point of strangulation. No animal should ever be left unattended when leashed in the tub. It may be necessary to muzzle a very frightened animal. For many dogs, attempting to bite is a natural defense when frightened. As always, you should only use as much restraint as you think might be necessary. Over-restraining can lead to injury of the animal or increased excitement. You are now ready to begin the bath. Adjust the water to a comfortable lukewarm temperature prior to wetting the dog. Thoroughly wet the dog and turn off the water. Next, apply enough shampoo to create sufficient lather. The shampoo may be a general grooming shampoo or a medicated shampoo. The veterinarian will make the decision if a prescription medicated shampoo is to be used. Protective eyewear and an apron is recommended with every bath and dip. Gloves should be worn when dealing with medicated shampoos or dips. When using a medicated shampoo, always follow the prescribed recommendations printed on the bottle. Most medicated shampoos will require contact time with the skin. Unless specifically directed by your veterinarian, a medicated shampoo should be left on the pet for 5 to 10 minutes before thoroughly rinsing. When performing a flea bath with a medicated flea shampoo, consider starting the lathering process at the dog's head and work your way to the tail. This will more likely drive the fleas to the tail, where there are fewer areas for them to hide. Flea shampoos are medicated shampoos and should remain in contact with the skin and fleas for 5 to 10 minutes prior to rinsing. They may then be thoroughly rinsed of all shampoo. Leaving unrinsed shampoo behind may lead to skin irritation on the dog or cat. Cats are bathed in a similar manner, but for a few changes. Controlling the cat during the bath becomes a greater challenge, as most cats dislike getting wet. Allowing them to grab onto a rack or stiff screen may prevent them from grabbing onto you. Keeping them out of pooled water will also improve your chances of not getting bit or scratched. And finally, a cat may be best controlled by firmly holding onto its scruff with one hand while bathing with the other. Once the bath and rinse are complete, the dog or cat should be towel dried to remove the bulk of the water present in the coat. Commercial cage dryers speed drying by circulating warm air around the pet. Special attention should be given to not leaving the pet under the dryer for too long, as they may become overheated if left for an extended period of time. Checking the drying pet every 15 minutes will help assure their safety. As mentioned earlier, long-haired pets may benefit from a light brushing during the drying process to get them uniformly dry. Once the pet is thoroughly dry, they are then ready for a final brushing. A light spritzing of a pet cologne will provide that special pet with a nice finishing touch. Dipping dogs and cats is becoming a less frequent service due to the many effective flea preventatives that are available on the market. We will briefly cover the basics of dipping because there are still applications where this procedure is necessary. If a pet is to be dipped, this should occur immediately after they have been bathed, just before they are dried. Dips are generally reserved for animals with mange, fleas, or ticks. Dips differ from baths in that the dip is allowed to dry without rinsing, leaving a residual of chemicals on the pet's skin and coat. If dip or shampoo gets into their eyes, you should thoroughly rinse the eyes with water and notify the veterinarian. Protective gloves, clothing, and eyewear will help to prevent direct exposure to these often potent chemicals. The actual dip involves mixing up a prescribed amount of dip with a predetermined amount of water. This solution is poured or sponged onto the pet until they are thoroughly soaked. It is often beneficial to recirculate the dip back into a bucket or stopped-up tub until you are sure the coat is thoroughly soaked. The pet should not be rinsed but allowed to dry with some dip remaining on the skin and coat. Besides the basic brushing, bathing, and dipping procedures just discussed, there are additional grooming skills that you can master that may be necessary grooming features for some pets. Though these skills may be currently handled by the veterinarian or veterinary technician, everyone on the staff can benefit from some instruction in these areas. Additional hands-on training will likely be necessary to properly perform these skills.